When you think of France, you kind of picture a very specific scene. It's probably Paris. It's gray stone buildings, maybe a glass of red wine.
For sure, the classic movie set version of France.
Exactly. But then you can take a train just 1 hour north of Paris. You step out, and everything feels different. The buildings are red brick. The drink of choice is strong beer. And people are talking about a very specific kind of waffle. And you just have to wonder, am I still in France? Did I somehow end up in Belgium?
It's a very fair question to ask. And the answer is, well, it's complicated. You are in France, but you're also in Flanders.
And that is exactly what we are getting into today. Welcome to the Audio Travel Guide. We are doing a deep dive into Lille, a city that perfectly blends that French style with a hearty Northern European soul.
It's a fantastic place because it really shows you how fluid culture is. A national border is just a line on a map. But the architecture, the food, the whole vibe of Lille, it shares so much DNA with its neighbors in Belgium.
And we are going to explore all of it. We'll talk about how the city was originally an island. We'll visit a museum inside a stunning old swimming pool. And we'll definitely cover the massive street market that attracts literally millions of people.
Right. The goal here is to give you that local edge so you know what you're seeing and, maybe more importantly, what you should be eating before you even step off the train.
So let's set the scene. Geographically, where exactly are we?
Okay, so Lille is in the very north of France in a region called Nord-Pas-de-Calais. It is extremely close to the Belgian border. I mean, you can practically walk there.
And it's not some small town. We should be clear on that. It's France's fourth largest urban area.
It's a major hub.
Yeah.
And to understand its vibe, you really have to start with the name. Lille comes from Lille.
The island.
Exactly. The city was originally founded on an island in the middle of the Doubs River.
Which is funny because when you're there today, it doesn't feel like an island at all. It's all pavement and city squares.
Well, the water is still there. It's just been channeled and built over for centuries. But that origin shaped everything. It's why the city is so flat and why you see so much red brick. They didn't have stone quarries. They had river clay.
And that industrial past is key.
Right.
It was a huge center for textiles.
A powerhouse. But like a lot of industrial cities, it went through a really tough time in the late 20th century when that industry declined. It had a reputation for being a bit gritty.
But it seems to have reinvented itself. I was reading it was even nominated as an internet city. It's become this big cultural center.
That's the whole story of modern Lille, and a huge part of that energy comes from its population. It is a massive university city.
Does it feel?
Incredibly young. And that keeps a city with medieval roots feeling vibrant and energetic. It's not a sleepy museum piece.
Okay, let's break down the neighborhoods because they feel so distinct. You have to start with the heart of it all, the Grand Place.
Officially, the Place du Général de Gaulle.
Right, and in the center of the square, there's that huge column with the statue on top.
La Grande Déesse, the goddess. It commemorates the city's resistance to an Austrian siege. But the buildings around it are what really tell the story, especially the headquarters of the newspaper, La Voix du Nord.
It looks like a gingerbread house. It's so ornate with that stepped roofline.
That's classic Flemish architecture. Those are called stepped gables. You see them all over Belgium and the Netherlands. It's a style that's basically shouting, we are not Paris.
And just a short walk from there, you have Vieux or Old Lille.
This is the postcard district. Cobblestone streets, 17th century buildings.
And it's where you find all the chic designer shops and fancy restaurants. I've got a note here to walk down Rue de la Monnaie and Rue Escrimoise.
Those are the two key streets. It's a beautiful area to just wander. You also have the Notre-Dame de la Treille Cathedral there, which is this really interesting mix of old Gothic style and a very modern, almost strange-looking facade.
Okay, so you have the old town, but then you have the complete opposite, Euralille.
Right. Euralille is the future, or at least the 1990s version of the future. It's the modern business district and shopping mall that's wedged right between the two train stations.
It's all glass and steel. It feels like a totally different city.
It is. It was designed to make Lille a major hub for high-speed rail. It's functional, but I'd say it lacks the soul of the other districts.
To the soul, you go to Wazemmes.
Ah, yes. Wazemmes.
This sounds like my kind of place. It's the popular working class heart of the city.
It is. And it's most famous for its Sunday market, the Marché de Wazemmes. And this isn't, a quaint little market.
No, this thing sounds massive. Like you could buy anything from a suitcase to spices to a whole rotisserie chicken.
You absolutely can. It's loud, it's crowded, it's incredibly diverse. You'll hear accordion music playing in the pubs around the square. It's the lively, beating heart of the Euralille.
I love that. Okay, moving on to some top experiences. There's a building called La Vie Bourse, the old stock exchange. Usually that sounds, well, boring.
It's anything but. It's probably the most beautiful building in the city, pure 17th century Flemish Renaissance.
And you don't go inside to look at stocks anymore.
No, you go for the courtyard. The inner courtyard has become this public space, and it's always filled with secondhand booksellers and people playing chess.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's this wonderfully calm intellectual oasis right in the middle of everything.
And from there, let's talk about something a bit more imposing, the Citadel.
Vauban's queen of citadels. Vauban was the genius military architect for King Louis XIV, and this was his masterpiece.
It's that classic star shape, right?
Exactly, and that shape wasn't for looks. It's a geometric killing machine. It was designed so that there are no blind spots. Attackers are always exposed to fire from multiple angles.
Brutal. But today it's surrounded by a huge park.
Yes, and a zoo, which is free, by the way. So you have this monument to 17th century warfare, and right next to it are families looking at red pandas. The whole area is the city's main green space.
If you want to get a view of all this from above, the move is to climb the town hall belfry.
Yes, and this is another one of those UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It's the highest viewpoint in Lille, and it tells you something important about the city's identity.
How so?
In most French cities, the tallest structure is a cathedral. In Flanders, it was often the civic belfry, a symbol of the merchant's power and the city's freedom, not the churches.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I also want to mention a quick day trip, because it sounds incredible, to a town called Roubaix.
You can get there on the tram. It's very easy.
And the main attraction is a museum called La Piscine, the pool.
It might be the most beautiful museum I've ever been to. It's an art and industry museum located inside a former Art Deco swimming pool.
A swimming pool?
A stunning one. It was built in the 1930s for the textile workers. The main pool is still there, filled with water, and the sculptures are arranged along the edge. The light from the stained glass window reflects on the water. It's just breathtaking.
Wow. Okay, and finally, the big one, the event. The Braderie.
The Braderie. If you happen to be in Lille on the first weekend of September, you are in for an experience.
It's the biggest flea market in Europe. The whole city just shuts down.
It does. It becomes a massive pedestrian zone. And millions of people come for the party, the shopping, and the mussels.
Yes, the mussels and fries. Tell everyone about the tradition with the shells.
It's a competition. All the restaurants serve mountains of moules frites, and they pile the empty shells on the sidewalk outside. The goal is to have the biggest pile by the end of the weekend.
So you'll see these huge mounds of shells like 6 feet high in front of the restaurant.
Exactly. It's a visual record of the citywide feast.
Which is the perfect transition to the food. Because you don't go to Lille for light, delicate cuisine.
No, this is hearty Flemish comfort food. It's built for cold weather, and it is delicious. The star of the show is the Carbonade Flamande.
A beef stew, but it's very different from a French boeuf bourguignon.
Totally different. The base isn't wine, it's beer. A dark, rich beer. And the secret ingredient is gingerbread.
Gingerbread in the stew.
Yes. They spread mustard on slices of gingerbread and let it dissolve into the stew as it cooks. It thickens the sauce and adds this incredible sweet and spicy flavor that balances the beer.
That sounds amazing. And you eat this in places called Estaminets.
Right. An Estaminets is a traditional Flemish tavern. Very cozy, lots of wood, dried hops hanging from the ceiling. It's where you go for all the local specialties.
Like potjevlees, which is a cold meat terrine.
Or a tart made with the local Maroilles cheese. It's very pungent, smells strong, but tastes amazing.
And for dessert, we have to talk about the waffles from Meert.
Ah, Meert. It's a legendary pastry shop.
And these aren't the big, fluffy Belgian waffles you might be picturing.
Not at all. These are thin, soft, oval-shaped waffles that are sliced open and filled with a sweet paste. The classic is Madagascar vanilla. They are dense and rich and an absolute must-eat.
And to drink, it's all about the beer.
You are in beer country here. Forget the wine list for a minute. You'll find lots of local breweries and bars with huge lists of Belgian-style ales, triples, and blondes.
Okay, let's switch to practical tips. Getting in and around.
Getting in is super easy. The high-speed TGV train from Paris takes just over an hour.
But there's a crucial thing to know. The two-station trap.
Yes. This gets so many travelers. Lille has two main train stations very close to each other, Lille Flandres and Lille Europe.
And they serve different lines.
Right. Flandres is mostly for trains to and from Paris and other French cities. Lille Europe is for the Eurostar to London and other international trains. You have to check your ticket very carefully to see which station you need.
So double-check your ticket. Flandres or Europe, good tip. And once you're there,
the city center is very walkable. For longer distances, there's a great public transport system with an automated subway and trams.
And what about safety?
It's generally a safe city. You know, the usual advice applies. Be aware of pickpockets in crowded areas like the Wazemmes market. And because it's such a student city, some of the bar streets can get pretty lively on a Saturday night.
Rowdy.
A little rowdy, yes. Especially around Rue Masséna. It's not dangerous, just something to be aware of.
So to wrap it all up, Lille seems like this perfect hybrid city. It has French elegance, but with this northern, almost Belgian hospitality.
That's it, exactly. It's a place for architecture lovers, for beer drinkers, for anyone with a sweet tooth. It really defies simple categorization.
And it's so well connected. It feels like the perfect add-on to a trip to Paris or Brussels or even London.
It really is. My final advice is, don't just pass through on the Eurostar. Get off the train. Stop and smell the Carbonade.
I think it really makes you consider what a country even is. Lille proves that culture doesn't care about the lines we draw on a map. It just flows.
A place that's proudly itself and proudly a bit of everything else, too.
This has been the Audio Travel Guide.